In the Ashanti region, police at Ebuakwa are investigating how the bodies of a wife and husband were discovered in their flat. 2 teenage children of the couple were also rescued in a near unconscious state. Here is Ohiming Terrier's report.
A well-to-do family lived in a rented apartment at Macro Plot 10 after the family relocated from the Netherlands about 7 years ago. They never socialized with other residents as they live independently. But after several months of not hearing nor seeing the Jacksons, the live-with neighbors lodged a complaint with the Ebuakwa police. The bodies of the couple were discovered in a decomposing state. Their 2 children were also found in unconscious state. They were locked up without food and water in that 2-bedroom apartment for days, with the decomposing bodies of their dead parents. The traumatized children of the deceased are currently on admission at the Ebuakwa Polyclinic. Dr. Mensa Manye is medical superintendent.
They were brought in unconscious. It was a long month of traumatization in which, from what I gathered from the police, they were locked up in a room like for months. The extent of the decomposition and the odor or the smell is not the best. But I understand the man put an ice pack on the woman on the floor. That one too, I can't tell what he was trying to do. And he himself died in the washroom whilst, going to toilet. That's the water closet, I mean. So the children as a whole, they were brought in unconscious, very weak, dehydrated, very, very dehydrated. So that was the state they came in to the hospital. So I assembled my emergency team because they need a resuscitation. That is to give a lot of fluid. If there need be, you give some antibiotics so that we can always save the life of those 2 children. When you lose a lot of fluid, up to a certain percentage, your line or your veins collapse. So we're finding it difficult. Finally, we had it and resuscitated them.
Police say it has been difficult connecting with the families of the deceased. The children have been referred to the Social Welfare Department. Meanwhile, Dr. Manye is recommending psychotherapy support for the children.
To see your parents dead, both in the same room, and the trauma, even they accuse we adults and not being able to even go out. You are not able to go out from the presence of your parents. You see them decaying. You see them getting rotten. The odor is coming. As time goes on, because the elderly one could not still actually talk well. I don't know if it's because of the trauma. Maybe some psychologists may come in to actually talk to them so that they can, before they can get out of that situation.
From Kumasi, for JoyNews, Midday reporting.
Now, the Upper West Regional Police Command says it has commenced the investigation to unravel the mystery surrounding the gruesome murder of a private security man at Paguri, a suburb in the Wa municipality. 65-year-old Mumini Jato, who is father of 6, was picked at his security point lying on a bench in the night and allegedly hit with a cement block, and since then being buried behind an uncompleted structure. JoyNews' Upper West Regional correspondent Rafiq Salam reports that this is the 4th time a security personnel has been murdered in such a circumstance.
The people of the one municipality once again woke up to another sad news. It's about a gruesome murder of one of their own. He's a private security man who was on night duty and was gruesomely murdered and buried in a shallow grave.
Right behind me, you can see a bench right under the that is where the victim was sleeping. And according to reliable source, he came for duty on Friday night with his basket, and the basket was packed behind him. The following morning, the family could not find him, and so they came and made a report. We made a report, and we went on radio to make an announcement, only to be told on Sunday morning that the body had been seen buried under an uncompleted building.
We are now entering the uncompleted structure to see things for ourselves and where the man was allegedly buried. And I can tell you that this is the exact place where he was buried, in a shallow grave right here.
The body was cut open, and according to the pathologists, the heart was taken away. Nothing else, only the heart was taken away. That is the report of the pathologists. And so that's the police observation at the moment. But like I told you, this one God has blessed, and we are able to lift out some finger impression. So we are hoping and praying to God that we shall be able to get to the bottom of the matter.
For the fourth time in as many months, residents of the one municipality, particularly Paguri and Kambale, have been living in fear and having sleepless nights, wondering who could be next regarding these suspected ritual murders.
Are you afraid? Oh, we are afraid. Even the last I cannot sleep, the very day I cannot sleep. Even my family, we cannot sleep. They was afraid about it. Even my children, they was crying. That the thing happened, like they were crying, they cannot sleep. They was crying. So we people to find some way you can do, and this problem was resolved.
The Upper West Region's Police Command says they are not resting on their oars in pursuing the criminals and their elements.
It takes time. You might not have confidence, but I can assure you that the police, we have confidence in ourselves. And I'm telling you that we are doing our best. And I've told you, the Inspector General of Police have even dispatched some men to come and assist to unravel the mystery behind this murder case, this serial killing within the municipality.
Out of the 4 suspected gruesome murders that occurred in the municipality, all of them were private security personnel, and 3 of them took place at the Paguri enclave, an enclave who serves as the entertainment hub of the municipality and turning into a criminal den. Alaji Sakotire Moment is the one mayor and is deeply worried to the marrow about the criminal trend.
Why are they targeting watchmen? Because the last one was a school watchman whose blood was drained completely, and he was not open. They did not take any, organ from him. It was the blood that was drained. And this person is also a security person, a watchman. Who was also killed and certain organs removed from him. So in fact, it's a cause of concern. And if you look at the environments and where those people work, you see that even owners of those properties have not personally taken security matter seriously. Because look at this particular incident. This big story building where the man is watching, there is no any security light under. So if you are lying under the darkness, your predators will take advantage of the environment and then come after you. But one thing that makes me happy is the fact that the Municipal Security Council and the Regional Security Council have come together to look into this matter seriously.
The victim, Mumuni Jato, is somebody who is known in this community. He has 6 children and a wife.
He was very close to the chief, and he offered so many supports to the community. And now that he has gone, it will be a very big blow to all of us.
Friends, close relations, politicians from all sides of the political divide are visiting the family of the 65-year-old elder of Kambale to condole and commiserate with them. Among them is the Member of Parliament for the West Central Constituency, Dr. Rashid Pelpu, who condemned the dastardly act and wants the perpetrators to be fished out.
We are sad about it, we are worried about it, we are calling on the police to really demonstrate leadership and demonstrate professionalism so we can grasp these people and deal with them.
Residents of this community are surely in grief over the gruesome murder of a man they say is their pillar and will remain same until the perpetrators of the heinous crime are arrested. Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam.
keeping an eye on the story to bring you details or latest on that one. Now, the local economy of Yellow and Lower Manya areas have been hit on its knees, with residents saying they can no longer bear the impact of the situation. Hospitals in the area have been stretched beyond their limit, with the Public Utility Workers Union warning its members within the ECG to avoid the place. We have an update on the situation on the ground shortly for you. First, though, my colleague Manuel Cranton report businesses are already laying off workers with considerations of shutting down.
The sounds of vehicles meandering through the darkness on the main Somanya Road. It's been exactly a week since the street lights and other electricity-powered systems went off in the entire town.
By this time, stores would have still been open. This is a stretch from the municipal assembly to Somanya to Sran, and then to Somanya former runabout. It's a busy area, but because the lights are off, the stores have closed. And the sad aspect is that because thieves have seen that the light is not coming now, they are stealing the electricity cable.
Drivers only see by the help of car headlights, casting few yards ahead of them. The only lit building on the road is the G Unit Plus Hotel. The huge edifice houses a pub, restaurant, nightclub and hotel. Eric Tekwete is owner of the place.
It's not fair. It's not fair at all, because for me, I have my e-paid meter. So I don't see the reason why you should punish me because of the other customers. Because me, you gave me, I accept it, and I'm paying it. I'm buying the prepaid. As I'm talking to you now, I just bought 1,000 Ghana Cedi prepaid because I have like 7 meters. Before the light went off. When I want to, what am I going to do with the current that I have?
Eric's business has been badly hit by the power cuts in the area. He now depends on a 150 kilovolt plant to keep the place running.
For the story of the meat and the fish.
For meat
and the fish, yes.
And also drinks, I guess.
The drinks, they are at a different place.
Okay.
For here, only for the restaurant.
Okay.
The meat and then the fish.
Okay. And all of them are inside the
yeah, inside the divisors, yeah. It's our rooms. We have suites, then standard and the local ones. All depends on, we use TV, ACs, so on. So with that one, we have to use the light to power them. So for now, we are depending on the plant, which is that one is another issue altogether.
Eric says this is not sustainable. He is considering laying off some of his workers or shutting down the business altogether.
We have to lay off workers. We don't have option. Otherwise, they will be there doing nothing. And we cannot be owning the plant from day to night. Okay. We can't. You cannot deny the customer his right. He pay for the service. So you cannot say because of 2 customers I cannot own the plant. That means I'm being unfair. And as a businessman, I have to make sure my customer have the best service, so that next time he or she will come here. You cannot be wasting fuel without getting anything. It's better we shut down. That one there, definitely. Tomorrow we will have a meeting on that. Definitely, we cannot waste time. You cannot be buying 3,500 fuel a day, and you will still operating with 1 customer, 2 customers. Because normally we will have visitors because of where we are located. We have visitors more than the town people. So if there's no lights, they cannot work in the town before they will come and rent a hotel.
Now, the once very busy stretch that links the Yellow Krobo Municipal Assembly to the Somanya roundabout is now close to dead. Shops closed, lights off, restaurants closed, and even the fuel station behind me, well, it's just as dead as the community is fast becoming. The members here say they want immediate government attention in restoring the electricity to the township. From here at Somanya, my name is Manuel Kranting, reporting for JoyNews.
Now, President Akufo Addo in February this year sent a delegation to the region led by his special advisor on gender and development, Angela Sante, after a JoyNews report exposed how 2 women from the Mampusi East community had been accused of witchcraft and subjected to severe torture by a Togolese priest. The delegation on the fact-finding mission also held meetings with both the Regional Security Council and the House of Chiefs to express the president's anger with the development, as well as task the 2 bodies to work to ensure the practice was brought under control. However, authorities at the Gambaga witch camp say nothing has changed from the visit of the presidential delegation. According to the camp's coordinator, Samson La, 10 women have since been accused and violently banished from their communities without any action from the security services. Elias Tanko has more.
3 months earlier, more than 20 women from the town of Nakpanduri had been held in the camp and tortured over similar allegations. The incident, which occurred in February this year and was reported by JoyNews, attracted the attention of President Akufo Addo and provoked him to immediately react by dispatching a delegation.
Serve a caution to some of our so-called pastors and Maams who have become recalcitrant and have made it a business by identifying witches and wizards, and also make them teen gods without recourse to the laws of the country.
The coordinator of the camp.
Actually, there has been an increase after the visit of the Parliamentary Select Committee. We are really I don't know what to say, but we are surprised. Just of recent, we have recorded 6 women and 1 man again, just for some few days. And this is really alarming. And you know one thing, just not to record them, but this is the time there are brutalities as well.
MP for Wa is Godfred Seidu Jassau, and says as Parliament works to enact laws to deal with witchcraft allegations, the government must protect the vulnerable women.
I just wish that government was more proactive than this. This call has been on for the last 6-7 years or so. We haven't seen any concrete action. Indeed, that is one reason why for us as private members of Parliament, we are trying to sponsor a private members bill to be able to cure this. We think that at the policy level, at the governance level, government will have been more proactive to do something decisive about it. But we are not seeing anything in that respect. That is one reason why we are exploring the law, the gaps in the law, to be able to get this thing done. So that at least once there's a law backing the banning of these things, then we could bring a stop to it. But in the meantime, like I say, it's not too late. Government, local government authorities can make bylaws. People can put in arrangements that you cannot do these things and get away with it. It may be a cultural practice, but they need more education to appreciate this. We think that once this law comes in, the areas are specifically spelled out. And my view is that that should bring an end to what we've witnessed in the last few years, particularly the heightened dehumanizing treatment that has occurred of late.
Now, some liquefied petroleum gas users in Kumasi say they will be buying food from the street, and others are reverting to using charcoal as they struggle to access the domestic fuel. Most gas outlets in the metropolis remain closed. Love FM's Emmanuel Brightquick reports many LPG users who visited gas filling stations return home with empty cylinders.
Stranded in a quest to refill her 6-kilogram gas container, Ya Ajapon has been searching all morning for a gas outlet to access LPG for domestic use. From Ashtown to Angloga, all the pump stations she has visited remain closed. With LPG being her only fuel source, she says she will resort to buying food from the streets until she gets gas to refill her container.
The gates have been closed. There's no one there. I always use gas. I don't have coal. I don't even know what to do. I will be buying food outside.
Her situation is no different from many other LPG users, including commercial drivers who trooped to various gas stations. Simon Mensah, a commercial driver, says the shortage will affect his trips, ultimately biting hard on his daily sales. I have no option. Gas is what my vehicle functions with. After this trip, I won't be going again. The gas is about finishing. I won't be working until I get gas. I have a family to cater for, so this is really affecting us. The Ghana National Petroleum Tanker Drivers Union began a sit-down strike on Monday. Their reason stemming from the government's refusal to reopen some gas stations that were closed following a gas explosion in Accra in 2017. In the Ashanti region, at least 25 gas stations are under the ban. Organizing Secretary of the LPG Dealers Association of Ghana is beseeching LPG users to empathize with them.
We are even feeling more pain than because we can't. We have been seeing them going out stranded everywhere from one station to another, trying to get access to LPG. But to us, what we are doing is not today, but tomorrow. It will go into their own interest. So they should be with us and cooperate with us. But we know it is hard times for someone going from one station to another, spending a whole lot of transport fare, roaming about to get gas. But they should try and be with that.
Until the situation is resolved, the over 25% of Ghanaians who use liquefied petroleum gas will continue to resort to alternative fuel sources. For JoyNews, Emmanuel Bright Kweku reporting.
The MPA says they are working around the clock to get the LPG Marketers Association of Ghana to rescind the decision and to reopen their stations to the public. We will be following the story and we'll be updating you in our subsequent bulletins. Now, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission says it has successfully completed drafting modalities for the payment of cost of living allowance, COLA, for all public sector workers. CEO Ben Arthur tells JoyNews government is required to shortly announce when workers can begin to receive the allowance in their account. Demands for COLA resulted in weeks of labor agitations and industrial actions, leaving government to commit to paying workers 15% of their salaries as COLA. Mr. Arthur has been speaking to JoyNews on the sidelines of a signing of a memorandum of understanding with the International Audit Agency to check payroll fraud.
MOU with IAA is premised on the fact that Fair Wages is mandated to do payroll monitoring. But knowing our size and knowing very well that we are not in every office, especially the public offices, we are not having desks everywhere. But Internal Audit Agency has units in almost all the public sector institutions. So we're collaborating with them for them to share relevant information with us, for us to do same. And not only that, anytime they are able to discover anomalies, especially as to the sources of pay structure and who has mandated what, we should be able to share relevant information and take the appropriate action. We are doing this to serve Mother Ghana and to ensure that we'll be able to protect the public purse. That's the main reason behind this collaboration. We will not stop here. We are currently in talks with SIGA, and eventually we'll get to the audit service and try and sign similar MOUs with them to collaborate. The idea of collaboration is golden in this matter because working in silos has not helped. We have other institutions with similar mandates along certain lines. The time has come for us to collaborate and to ensure that the right things are done.
The biggest issue when you talk about payroll mostly has to do with people talking about payroll fraud and ghost names on payroll and all those things. Are those things that we can practically expect some changes to be made to us in terms of this particular.
Definitely, this MOU will go a long way in curbing that canker, if I should put it that way. We admit there are times that we detect ghost names, but working together, such as we have agreed to do, will go a long way to eliminating ghost workers on government payroll. With a frequent monitoring, I'm sure that we'll be able to undertake this exercise effectively.
I mean, quite recently, we know the Commission has been intervening in some labor issues, the COLA and all those issues. What's the latest on that?
The latest is that that agreement still stands, and we are certain that government will implement it. So nobody should have doubts in their minds. As soon as possible, we will communicate to you later on this, but we promise that it will be effective from July. Effective means that is when the implementation starts. Realizing the money in your pocket, we are working on the schedule, and I'm sure maybe in about 2 weeks to 3 weeks time, government will come up public with the exact date that you have it in your pocket, but it will be very soon.
The last time you said you were drafting some modalities, has that been completed?
That has been done, and it has to be communicated to organized labor, so I don't want to use this forum to break the news.
Now, government has assured it will continue with the teacher training allowances despite the decision to seek the support from the IMF. The termination of the policy, according to the Education Minister, Dr. Yao Duchum, will affect both beneficiaries and government. He explained the allowances are crucial to securing the requisite number of teachers to address labor shortages in deprived schools. He spoke to JoyNews on the sidelines of the inauguration of governing boards for 10 colleges of education. There's more in this report.
With the current economic crisis, many have expressed fears the impending IMF bailout will impact some of government's flagship programs, including payment of teacher training allowances. Just last week, the Association of Teacher Trainees called for legislation that will make the payment statutory. However, Minister of Education, Dr. Yao Duchum, says government is committed to paying the allowance.
57 million disbursed to colleges to feed the students and pay the allowance. We're on track. It's not as simple as what people want it to be. We need to be mindful of the fact that people are accepting to serve in deprived communities, in rural communities, because they were also served by the government, provided allowances by the government. So training allowances, teacher training allowances is very important if you want to ensure equitable distribution of teachers across the length and breadth of this country.
Dr. Educhum, who spoke to JoyNews on the sidelines of the inauguration of governing boards for 10 colleges of education, advised the governing boards to censor information in order to maintain efficient operations.
I also admonish members to take their oath of secrecy seriously, and that issues that they are discussing should not be divulged to the public. Because we heard tales of councils that WhatsApp proceedings to the outside world while they are in the council meeting, and we think that does not allow people to speak their mind openly.
The minister further urged the boards to work hard to enhance the academic work and holistic training of teachers.
The councils are the ones who oversee the various colleges, and I admonish them to innovate within their space to ensure that they can transform their schools in order to impact positively on basic education in this country.
The ministry noted that the governing board of the other 36 colleges will be inaugurated in the coming days. For JoyNews, Ifwa Aprikwa Boafo's report, right to you.
You're also watching JoyNews today. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with latest from the world of business. Stay with us.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Joy News. Today is business time. My name is Beverly Broom. Now, Trans Global Service, an international courier service, has assured Ghanaians of safe, affordable charter flights from Accra to London with their new service. Now, speaking at the launch of its airline, Voyager International Airlines, its chief executive, Thomas Coleman, promised, despite the increasing challenges facing British Airways, his outfit would ensure a good traveling experience at competitive prices.
The airline industry was among the worst hit by the COVID-19 pandemic, Airlines had to cut down on staff due to the limited movements of people as most countries were locked down. Although the pandemic has subsided, airlines are still struggling to recover. But Voyager International Airlines promises stellar experiences. Here's its chief executive, Thomas Coleman.
First is going to be competitive pricing. Okay, there's not a lot of direct flights. There's only one between London and Accra. That's on British Airways. That price point right now is about $4,000. So I know that we're right around $2,500 or less for that particular route. So that's a big saver. It's a saver on time, and it's a saver on money. We're a capitalistic company, so we're doing this for a profit, but we're not like a giant international carrier where we're trying to have massive profit. So we can cut down our profit to increase the number of baggage handlers that we have. We're okay with paying baggage handlers more and reducing our profit. So, I mean, because if we give you great service, you're going to come back to us.
Meanwhile, Chief Executive of the Ghana Tourism Development Company, Kojo Entry, referred to the launch as timely due to the programs lined up ahead of December.
We're excited to be part of this event and to witness an occasion such as this as a government, and I'm sure we've heard the Honorable Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Honorable Dr. Awal, mention the fact that we're looking to get tourism receipts to grow up to $4 billion US dollars in terms of contribution to GDP. We're also looking to attract about 2 million visitors to the country coming through all our international airports. So the witness of a chartered flight system, which is something we have been advocating as a government and pushing for, is necessary. Again, look at the things that we have planned for end of year. So we have major events coming up like Afrochella, like Afro Nation, like December in GH, that has a lineup of many events. For all these people coming in, they need avenues to bring them in here.
Trans Global Service is partnering Numero N, a travel consultant, on this project.
The West African Regional Director for CATS International, Apia Kusi Edumako, is urging small and medium-scale enterprises to come together and take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area to be competitive. According to him, this will aid in accessing a wider customer base and increasing market share while ensuring diversity of products, services, and long-term prospects. He spoke to Joy Business at the sensitization workshop for SMEs.
Small and medium-sized enterprises play an important role in Ghana's economy, accounting for around 90% of all businesses. The bulk of Ghana's SMEs operate in trade and services, and to a lesser extent industry, meaning they are also a key source of job creation. SMEs are responsible for roughly 85% of employment in the manufacturing sector. Mr. Kusi Adomako underscored the important role of merging in the market, stressing that this will support SMEs compete under the AFCFTA.
One of the problems we have in Ghana and most African countries is that people want to do things by solo. They want to be 100% owner of their company. But the world is changing, and the world has changed. And my dad used to say that it is better to be a 1% shareholder in a $1 trillion company than to be 100% owner in $100 company. So if you're an SME, you can decide to merge with somebody who has resources. Sometimes you may have the skills, somebody may have the money, so you should be able to convince people to invest in your establishment. That is one. And the banks have got a lot of money to give. Banks are knocking down on businesses, but to be able to qualify for financial loan from the bank, you should be able to put your business in a good shape. So
some SMEs called for more of such workshop. They admitted the challenges merging may come with, but welcome the idea.
See, now it's difficult because human behavior now is something you need to look at. But if you have like-minded people who understand themselves, we should be able to merge so that we can maximize profit.
As an SME, it brings about a lot of exposure. You get a lot of information, and then you get to know what the outside world is expecting of you, such as standards and all of that. It makes you get to know you need to be ready for a certain market.
Very perfectly. I started long ago. I used to tell my colleagues that
when you are united, will be very strong. And then you learn, you take ideas from your colleague.
The SME sector has been key in the production of goods and services and employment creation in the country.
That's all for business now. We have more business coming up on Marketplace at 1 p.m. Up next is sports.
And that's all in Joy News today. There is more news on myjoyonline.com. Up next is a Marketplace. My name is Samuel Kojo. Brace to enjoy the rest of your afternoon.